Jinger Duggar is more than just an alum from Counting On these days. The TLC star is a famous author who bravely dished a lot of tea, but she seemed to avoid mentioning her brother Josh Duggar's name in a recent interview, so some people wondered why. After all, he was mentioned when she wrote about the show being cancelled. Jinger Duggar is opening up on a lot of things. This week, Jeremy Vuolo and his wife joined Matt and Abby on their The Unplanned podcast. She became extremely emotional when she talked about her childhood. Mentioning an unbalanced childhood made her cry, so perhaps her next book will address the extremes of being raised under so many strict rules. Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vuolo also mentioned that she finds it difficult to discuss her feelings on the IBLP sometimes. Recall that her mom and dad, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, raised their kids under Bill Gothard's teachings. However, she believes they can still love each other. The Counting On alums also laughed about the questionnaire that Jeremy had to fill in to court his future wife. Counting On alum skipped using Josh Duggar's name. The podcast isn't all deeply serious and disturbing stuff. At one stage, Matt asked why Jim, Bob, and Michelle chose to name all their children with J's. An OP on Reddit noticed that the former TLC star seemed reluctant to use her brother's name. Jinger Duggar explained that her parents didn't always expect to raise over a dozen kids. The Counting On fan captioned their post with, "Jinger not saying Pest's name. I was listening to Jeremy and Jinger's episode on the Unplanned podcast. Matt asked why the Duggars decided on all J names. Jinger says the oldest was named with a J name, and then next came the twins, Jana and John David. After that, JB and M thought they would only have one more kid and didn't want them to feel left out, hence continuing the J name cycle. Through this entire explanation, she never said Josh. I don't think it necessarily means anything, but also I thought it was interesting." TLC fans discuss the omission. Perhaps Jeremy Vuolo gave the closest hint about cutting Josh Duggar out of their lives. Some fans discussed that. Others also threw in some ideas. When Jerm was talking about how the courtship rules were stupid, because if someone needs to be policed into being chaste, they probably should evaluate themselves in the first place. I felt like it was a jab at the Pest lol. I don't think I'd want to say my abuser's name either. I don't think she thinks of Josh as her brother at all anymore. He's her abuser and an abuser of countless others. People will always know her as one of his victims. If she doesn't want to acknowledge him, that's her right. What are your thoughts about Jinger Duggar seeming to try not to use Josh Duggar's name? Do you think that she deliberately left him off the list of J's? Sound off in the comments below, and come back here for all your Counting On news.